feel the best right here, in this area, okay?
Outer head of the bicep.
Don't freak out when you see these biceps, okay? I know it's the best yet is in, but...
So how can you get bigger bicep peaks? Well, first, let's take a quick look at the anatomy of the bicep. There are two main parts of the bicep, which include the short head and the long head. The biceps are a biarticular muscle, which means that it helps control the motion of two different joints, the shoulder and the elbow. The brachialis, being fairly small, this muscle flexes the elbow joint and lies underneath the bicep. Last but not least, the brachioradialis, which is the largest muscle of your forearm. Keep in mind that everyone is built differently when it comes to building a great bicep peak. There are long and short muscle bellies. The long muscle bellies look more full but have a limited peak. Some bodybuilders, like the monster Arnold Schwarzenegger, have a large gap between their forearm that begins to protrude, and this is an amazing example of a short muscle belly. It is normally considered to be a disadvantage to have a short muscle belly due to it being more difficult to build muscle around it and making it look more full. But the advantage of having a shorter bicep, it can peak and protrude more easily. So which part of the bicep is going to help you get that rock hard solid peak? Well, first, the short head of the bicep that makes up the width and the thickness of the bicep, and the long head is going to make up for the mountain high peaks. So what about the brachialis? Training your brachialis is just as important as training your long head due to the brachialis pushing up the long head and creating a more well-defined peak. Before we get into some exercises, what would be the best hand placement to get some massive peaks? There are two grips known as supinated, palms facing up, and pronated, palms facing down. In order to work the long head of the bicep, a supinated curl will work best. Why? The alignment of the wrist and the shoulder that helps compensate for a greater contraction of the long head. Here are some pointers to help grow the long head and the brachialis. Let's dive into some exercises focusing primarily on the long head first. Starting off with the grip. Doing a standing dumbbell curl while supinating the wrist will have a greater effect on the long head muscle. A study done in 2012 by Miller and colleagues of a biomechanical analysis stated that when the forearm starts in a supinated position, there is more of an effect on the long head. The short head of the bicep had a greater effect when the forearm started in a neutral or pronated position. So when you are working on building the long head, start your standing dumbbell curl with your wrist in a supinated position. Another great exercise will be the movement that allows the shoulder to be stretched at all times. Try the seated dumbbell curl. As you can see, the arm is back behind the body, thus activating a greater stretch on the long head muscle. As the long head tendon runs over the shoulder joint, which in this case means that the shoulder is involved and the short head is not activated. Another fantastic exercise would be a drag curl. This exercise is not commonly used but is great for contraction and allowing the arms to be behind the body. But let's say you wanted to change it up and get some beefy mass into those biceps. Placing your arms in front of you will work the short head like a spider curl or even a preacher curl. But to get mountain peak biceps, remember to stick to a long head contraction exercises as I just mentioned. A great way to stimulate the long head activation is adjusting your grip width. A more narrow grip will activate the long head, and remember not to keep your elbows in front of you while this will target the short head. A recent study done by Solomon and colleagues stated that increasing the length of the biceps promoted increased activation of the long head in relation to the short head in producing a rapid supination motions. If you focus on doing full ROM, range of motion, into your set and finish off with half reps into the last few reps, this will have a greater effect on the long head muscle. So what about strengthening the brachialis? Remember that exercising the muscle will help push the long head, creating a bigger peak and more fuller arms. The brachialis' only function is to flex the arm. Some exercises that help strengthen the brachialis will be a hammer curl, pronated dumbbell curl, or even dead hands. If your pronated curl strength is not 82% of your supinated grip strength, your brachialis is weak and most likely underdeveloped. So make sure to work your brachialis. Guys, thank you so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed the video, please share it so others can see it and like the video as well. Comment down below what other videos you'd like me to see me do, maybe perhaps on different muscle groups or nutrition. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. I would really appreciate it if you guys did, and I think I'm going to do these videos once a week if I can. I'm going to try to come up with some other ideas, different muscle groups, more scientific training, maybe nutrition, and I'm trying to find a series name for it. But anyways, thank you again, and I'll see you guys in the next one.